Making wine in the Hunter Valley is a multi-million-dollar industry, and vignerons are constantly working to improve their lot. This is the latest idea, a tiny weather station that monitors temperature, rainfall, humidity and wind strength. 4 have been set up across the valley. Its greatest asset is to quantify local conditions, giving up-to-the-minute information on the possibility of disease in the crop. Wine growers can then decide if they need to spray and exactly when to do it.
Optimum timing and maximum result.
The cutbacks in pesticides could mean big savings for producers and in turn a better environment. The weather station is connected to the phone line, information easily transferred to whoever needs it.
What it's giving them is just another tool to better manage their vineyard and really improve some of the management options that they've got.
Keeping the Angels of the Westpac Rescue Helicopter Service in the air is an expensive business, as is running the John Hunter Children's Hospital. Today, local registered clubs chipped in with a $100,000 idea.
Well, Newcastle people help Newcastle people, and Newcastle people own the registered clubs in Newcastle, so it's a real matter of Newcastle people once again putting their hands in their pockets to help each other.
The clubs today launched an art union, the money to be shared between the hospital and the rescue service. A triathlon, a race day and a bowls day is also planned. 9-year-old Ria Cornell has cystic fibrosis. A patient at the John Hunter, she said thank you, presenting representatives with angel billies.
We think that that's absolutely outstanding. I think 100,000 could be conservative because this is going to be a major campaign.
The announcement last night brought spontaneous cheers and pats on the back from his teammates.
Oh, mate, I'm over the moon. Can't believe it.
Forward was 6 points clear of Toronto Workers' second rower Chris Cole. The award has extra significance for Forward, who missed 6 premiership games after fracturing a cheekbone. With the award firmly in his grasp, Forward now has his sights on this weekend's clash with an in-form Curry.
I'd swap anything for a grand final win, so hopefully the boys can perform on the weekend and we'll, stop Curry winning their 4th premiership.
And the Rookie of the Year. The up-and-coming Maitland player's future looks secure. He's set for a trial with the Newcastle Knights after winning the prize.
In the upper Hunter Valley, the once rich landscape is parched. Depression hangs over the farms, battling to just hang on. It's been like this now for some years, and farmers are at a loss about what to do.
We have been having rural crisis meetings now for almost 12 months, and at present the situation is probably worse for beef producers than what it has been in the last 12 months.
They now believe something must be done or they'll go under. On top of the drought, a slump in beef prices has crippled those whose farms remained viable. A handful of locals met in Scone today to get the ball rolling on a submission to the federal government. Many face losing their drought-affected status in December, and the future after that is uncertain.
Anderson has promised there will be a package to replace drought exceptional circumstance, and I hope today that there's a very, very strong message come from this meeting that that package must include real benefits for the beef producers.
It's hoped the meeting will lead to workshops being set up to teach farmers how to cope with market fluctuations and minimise their risks. Laura Saperstein, NBN News.
At the centre of the row, the poor pippy is still the biggest loser. Thousands of kilos of the shellfish are legally taken by commercial fishermen each year, most winding up in the Sydney markets for those who consider them a delicacy. The pros most often go for them in the off-season between other catches. The state government, though, has aimed a campaign at the public, limiting the catch to just 50 pippies a day. Infringements are followed by stiff fines.
We've done our research. Most of these people have come from Sydney. A lot of them have come from non-English speaking background.
According to Fisheries, about half a dozen licensed fishermen take anything from 2,000 kilos of pippies a year from Stockton Beach, fetching around $2 to $4 a kilo. As with other species, permits may soon be needed for those who collect pippies. Andrew Lobb, NBN News.
Nine, 2 and 10, the Quinella 3960 trifecta, $699.50. We head north now for a big day at Casino with the Casino Cup. One, 2 and 6, the Quinella $14.90 trifecta, $101.50.
At a glance, it looks like a normal classroom, and that's the remarkable thing about it. These kids are learning something that until they came here was an alien concept. All of them were once out of control, impossible for their schools to cope with.
Often, because of their frustration, they'll turn a chair over, table over, throw things at other students.
The Cessnock District Learning Centre, which caters for the Hunter Valley Coalfields area, is a troubleshooter. Staffed by 3 teachers and volunteers, it takes in about 30 students, each for a few days a week. When 13-year-old Robbie Stair started here 12 months ago, he had the reading skills of a preschool to kindergarten child and was causing all sorts of problems at his home school of Cessnock.
Well, used to go psycho and that, throw chairs and told teachers where to go, everything.
For some reason, he was so angry at the world, not even his mother escaped his wrath. Then he came to the CDLC, and even here they thought he was a lost cause.
He was bedlam. He wasn't one of my favourite students for a long time.
The teaching method is straightforward.
They are constantly rewarded for all the good things they do. They are also, pulled up every time they do something negative.
And over time, it works.
Completely changed. You can sit and talk to him, talk the problem out with him, and after that, he's right.
So changed is Robbie, he's become a volunteer at Western Primary School, using his new skills to teach other kids to read. But the CDLC is in trouble. To work, it needs a higher staff-to-student ratio, and its Department of Education funding has been cut. To keep its teachers' aid, $11,000 must be raised. Parents whose lives have been changed by the school are pleading with the community to help.
The kids have got the attitude, yous don't care, so why should we? So we've got to show the kids that we do care.
Laura Saperstein, NBN News.
To his parents, Cade Tasker is just your average little boy. But to the producers of Beauty and the Beast, the talented youngster is chip all over. For most actors, just getting through the audition is an ordeal. But for newcomer Cade, it seems all it took to clinch the part was a good attitude and some time alone for a pep talk.
Cade, you're good at this, you can do this. And I just tried my best.
8-year-old Cade beat more than 60 other hopefuls from throughout the state for the role in the Sydney production. His repertoire, just a few school plays, but at a special performance for his schoolmates at Berkeley Vale Primary, he showed just how he captivated the judges. Although the part of a perky teacup could be Cade's ticket to the big time, he's not so sure he'll follow the path to stardom.
Well, no. When I grow up, I'm just going to be a singer in a band and a pilot, and maybe go to the Olympics in hockey.
When you're 8 years old, anything is possible. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
Members of the Service Station Association are heading for a conference in Canberra tomorrow. At the top of the agenda, their response to the latest government-initiated report into the oil industry. Australia's competition watchdog has recommended the federal government scrap existing price controls on petrol, saying they serve no useful purpose. Instead, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission's recommended heightening competition to the 4 major oil companies through an increase in the number of independent fuel retailers. But the independents, working on small retail margins, claim prison controls offer them some protection from the market power of big companies, attempting to squeeze them out of the business. The Treasurer is expected to make a decision on deregulation after the budget. Andrew Lobb, NBN News. North Region's major crime squad covers an area from the Central Coast to Tweed Heads. Around 40 officers based in Newcastle form the homicide, armed hold-up, drug squads and child mistreatment units. Called to briefings in Sydney today, officers now face the prospect of relocation throughout the region or transfers back to uniform duties. A number of other industrial matters will be raised, including the disruption of 5-year rotational service established in the anti-corruption shake-up after the Royal Commission. A meeting of district commanders will be held at regional headquarters in Gosford next week to discuss a 9-point restructuring plan. Andrew Lobb, NBN News.
Newcastle's recent trip to the Gold Coast proved to be an absolute thriller. Down for most of the game, the Falcons found plenty in the dying stages. Scott McGregor, their hero, when he forced a foul and the match for the visitors.
I'd say we'll be trying to set a score, but hopefully it won't be as close as last time. We'll win by 20 this time, hopefully.
A loss last week and the Falcons dropped out of the 8, but with plenty of tricks still up their sleeves, Newcastle will start its big home streak cautiously confident.
It's a game we've got to get and a game we can get, and that's our only concern right now. After we do that, we'll go for the rest of them.
Given a rest by coach Tom Wiseman yesterday, the Falcons were fresh at today's light training run, but all are fit to bounce back into gear tomorrow night. No more so Marty McLean, he plays his 100th NBL game.
It's always good, I guess, maybe later on in life you look back and say, I did that. I'm pretty happy that they've all been with the Falcons too.
The team's on court at the Entertainment Centre from 7:30. Jonathan Upton, NBN News. On paper, everything favoured West last night, the best defensive and attacking record, the home ground advantage and fresh from a week's rest, but the break did nothing for the Rosellas tackling. Jeff Walters' solo effort put the visitors in front 6-0. A high tackle 20 minutes in and the home side was reduced to 12 men for the rest of the match, but they still managed to find an overlap and Peter Jenner made it 6-4. Back from the break, Ewan McGrady spilled the beans and the Rosellas were presented with a gift 4-pointer. But the Lakes halfback found sweet revenge moments later, saving a certain try. Nothing could stop quick thinking and sheer determination from Tony Price. Down 6 and in the shadows of full time, a dash from dummy half and the Seagulls locked it up. Sent out for another 20 minutes, the field goal became the option. Steve Storey gave the minor premiers the edge. But Lakes took the running approach. Ewan McGrady slipped a pass to David Smith and the powerful centre turned on the pace for his 18th try of the season. A try apiece in the last 10 minutes traded the lead on both occasions, but Lakes got home only just 24-23. And this afternoon at Townsend Oval, Souths and Curry met in a sudden death showdown. Souths led 8-0 after only a couple of minutes and nearly trampled their way to an even bigger lead. But after weathering the storm, the Bulldogs also found space, running in 2 quick tries and a 12-8 lead. Curry bombed a number of other chances but held on to win. They play Wests next weekend. Manly boasts one of the strongest forward packs in the AAMI Cup, and up front the big men found plenty of ball in this afternoon's match at the number 1 sports ground. Keen to use their power, the visitors played all over the Wildfires early on, but the home side was first on the board with a penalty conversion. Led by international Willie O, Manly came back, but the match finished in a thrilling draw. In the Newcastle Rugby Union, the Waratahs thumped Merriweather. Softball and the Power Raiders beat the Castle Lakers today, and in soccer a 3-1 loss last night for the Adamstown Rosebuds. The Gold Coast were playing for pride, Newcastle for a spot in the 8, and the Falcons' Scotty Ninnis assisted to start the match in style. David Van Dyke kept the home side on top, but second shy of the first change, Ira Bowman hinted at a Rollers comeback. It was a sign of things to come. The visitors dominated play for the next 2 quarters, Bowman again one of the main destroyers. 17 points down and the Falcons coach Tom Wiseman was searching for answers. With that, Newcastle battled the clock, pulling in the deficit, Lockie Armfield for 3, then Butch Hayes levelled it up. Scores locked at 102, overtime was needed to split the deadlock. The Falcons hit the lead early and never looked back, keeping their top 8 hopes alive.
a lightning fight back.
Boggles wide here, Timmy Mattis.
It was a do-or-die battle for the Knights today, and Andrew John started well with the boot, landing 2 quick penalties and a 4-0 lead. Buoyed by a big home crowd, Newcastle had most of the early possession, and when Mark Glanville found Keith Beecham, the locals were up by 10. At the other end of the park, everyone was joining in the Knights' defence. Even referee Manson did his bit, while Robbie O'Davis needed no help in attack, selling the Roosters a dummy. John Simon backed himself and the Roosters broke through 16-6 at half-time. Back from the break, Newcastle needed only 10 minutes to extend its lead. Billy Peden joined the scorers, and from there they never surrendered. The winning drought finally over.
In the way we put it together today, I'm just glad I can pay my mortgage for another week. Yeah, it's been a while.
The Newcastle Knights entered the match knowing another loss would kill any faint hope of a berth in the finals. Plenty of early points had the side in control of the game throughout. Robbie O'Davis, one of the standouts in a team that finally found some form.
In the way we put it together today, I'm just glad I can pay my mortgage for another week. Yeah, it's been a while.
4 tries to 2 at the siren, the Knights' defence holding up even with a bit of assistance from referee Manson, but in attack Newcastle needed no help as the Knights kept their finals hopes alive.
With a bit of luck maybe we can get there, but all we've got to concentrate on is the next game.
The Knights, Parramatta, Wests and Auckland now do battle for position number 8, Newcastle's last 2 games against the Western Reds and Cronulla. Highfields lost to the Warriors a fortnight ago and were determined not to make the same mistake today. But it was 0-0 after 80 minutes and still after extra time, a penalty shootout deciding the winner. Rugby Union and Maitland upset the Wanderers today. In softball, the Castle Lakers beat Penrith. And in surfing, the New South Wales Rip Curl junior titles finished up at Redhead Beach today. Competitors from across the state battled small but clean surf up to half a metre. In the under-14s, the Mid-North Coast Sean Canstel won the title after demolishing his opposition in both the semis and final.
Workers today were busy setting up a makeshift office to handle calls on the hotline. Over the next 3 days, Lake Macquarie ratepayers will be able to ring and tell council exactly what they think of the area's community-based services.
It's about getting from the community their perception or their ideas of what locally based community services are out there in the community, to give council an idea of what is available, what the quality of service is, what the community expects.
Councillor Davis says all information gleaned from the hotline will eventually be used to indicate to ratepayers the services available and how to access them. If services are found to be lacking, council will pass concerns onto the state and federal governments.
A lot of the services are state and federal government funded. We need to go back to today's authorities and advise them the results of this survey.
The user hotline is confidential and will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. from tomorrow until Thursday.
They came by the busload from the Central Coast and north to Merriwa, Energy Australia workers fearing for their future.
People seem to have lost sight of the issue of the loss of jobs issue. We see that as a fundamental issue and a priority.
The uncertain times come with Energy Australia rationalising its operations as it prepares for national competition in the power distribution business. Unions estimate 60% of workers could go. That's more than 500 in the Hunter region. While Energy Australia has offered a 3% pay rise to some, workers at today's meeting were more interested in survival than a pay increase. And strike action has not been ruled out.
We will not inconvenience the delivery of service to the consumer.
The state government has promised no worker will be sacked and no one will be forced to work outside of their present base. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Shortly after 8 o'clock last night, Cecil Lilly answered a knock on the front door of his Barton Street home. On the front porch were two flower deliverers.
When he asked me to sign for the flowers, I opened the screen door and came out to tape the board to sign it, and he just pushed me back through the door and against my sister and knocked her to the floor.
The second man pulled on a balaclava and, armed with a double-barrelled shotgun, followed his partner inside, ordering Cecil and his sister, Anne, to stay down. Awoken by the noise, their mother, Joyce, rushed into the living area, where she too was ordered not to move.
I thought, oh, this is the end. They're going to shoot us.
The men searched the home before escaping with a sum of money. Police are now investigating a series of home invasions which have occurred in the Cessnock and Curry areas over the past few months.
At this stage, it's obviously still at very early stages. There's a number of things that we're still looking at to try and follow up on from last night. And at this stage, the task force that's been looking into the armed robberies at Cessnock and the Maitland area are going to be assisting the Cessnock detectives with the inquiries in relation to what happened here last night.
Emma Siossian, NBN News.
These Woodbury parents say their sons and daughters are casualties of teacher industrial action. As part of an ongoing claim for a 12% wage rise, teachers in some schools have elected not to take part in activities outside school hours. That includes sporting events, schools' concerts and excursions.
The kids are totally disillusioned. They trust and respect their teachers, and the teachers have promised them these excursions and camps and things. They've been working and preparing for them for months, and now suddenly they're not going.
These parents say teachers are involving kids unfairly in their wage claim.
I just don't agree with using the kids in the dispute, and that's what's happening.
They're just not communicating with us, they're not communicating with their children, and basically, as has been said before, they're holding the children to ransom.
The Teachers Union has responded today saying that parents and students will be better off as a result of the industrial action. The union is also asking parents to take their complaints straight to their local member. Teachers have planned a 2-hour stoppage in New South Wales schools on September the 2nd. Blake Doyle, NBN News.
Flags were at half-mast around Greta today, a town battle-wearied from living between New England Highway black spots.
Been people that died right opposite my gate. Yesterday there was people that died about 3 kilometres away from my gate. A few years ago there was people that died 4 kilometres the other side of my gate.
40-year-old Paul Mellon of Greta was killed when an interstate semi-trailer crossed unbroken lines and slammed into his station wagon, then collected another vehicle, killing 27-year-old Glenn Eastley from Rutherford. The mangled utility was almost punched through the guardrail as the semi careered down an embankment. The driver of the semi, a 20-year-old man from South Australia who was uninjured in the crash, has been charged with negligent and dangerous driving. Meanwhile, residents near the town, which depends on the heavy transport industry, are calling for the speed limit to be reduced from 100 to 80 kilometres an hour after their own near misses.
They were hit from behind by a heavy vehicle, thrown into the paddock, and the car caught fire. My 2 grandsons were nearly burnt alive in that situation.
We have majority of our truck drivers are a lot of coal drivers, not so much interstate, but a lot of our coal drivers pull in all the time. We can never fault them. They always, as being a Stop, Revive, Survive site, they call in, they get their petrol, they have their meal. We've got to sit back and learn to realise that they are much larger than us, and without the trucks we don't have a lift.
What about you?